let me in?
The world ended. Didn't you get the memo?
You said it.
Come on, guys, let's go for a slice of pizza. Yeah.
So fetch. What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
I'm Charlotte Blackwood.
I'm Maverick.
Maverick? Does your mother not like you or something?
Chunk is dead. Don't say that. Never say that. Goonies never say die.
She's Senator Susan Kent. We call this Cleanup Aisle 9 or Yeah, Bud. Senator, I don't know if you just did not prove during that break how two humans can be completely different, and maybe that's why I like you so much. You're a nut job. You are certifiably a nut job. So we're talking in the last half hour that you had 4 bears, mama and 3 bears at the end of your driveway, looking oh so cute, and the little one prancing away. And it, again, I'm thinking, I don't want a bear in my flipping 2-block area, so I'm thinking long driveway. You send a photo. And when I say end of driveway, I think that end of the driveway.
By the road, you mean?
Yeah, out there, the end, because at the beginning is where I start. You post this picture. This little cute bear that's tagging behind is still on the bottom step of your porch. What? You can't tell a story. That story's completely different if I'm telling that story. You, it's so cute. They were eating bugs off your porch as far as I can tell. Are you kidding?
Yes, they're adorable. Look at those 3 little baby bears.
Look at them. You're seeing them right between their eyes. This is not this. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know if you could lock the doors hard enough and to keep bears out. I don't know. That presume that downstairs porch is right behind you. Right there.
It's right. It's that side. Yeah. This is the other side, the other porch. Yeah.
Susan, you're okay. You're absolutely correct. You're living in the flipping zoo, for God's sakes.
It's so fun. And then I didn't send you the video of the bigger bear walking. This is the deck, just down there.
Just don't even send it. Don't. I don't.
Yeah. But we did because I told you, like, my son last year saw one. He was down in the basement and saw it. And he yesterday was saying if there were not the window there, he could have reached out and petted that bear. And then I sent you the picture similar to this one. There was a bear at the bottom of these same steps. That's his room, that corner.
See, but this is what I don't understand. You will protect another human's child to no end. You leave in the car too long, you don't have the windows off. You guys, we got child protective services. And yet you're out there just giggling. Yeah, my kid was like a pane of glass away from the big bear that comes up all the time, or what? And you don't.
It's a house. We have a structure here that we feel safe in, and then yes, we do. Like, and when we leave to go back to the cities, our food all goes in the refrigerator, so it doesn't serve as some sort of
Here's how I see you leaving your place. You guys get a plan. One guy get cars packed, and then you're at the door, and you're going to count down 3, 2, 1. You're serpentine, running like a snake. Serpentine running to get in the car. Get in the car, dive in, lock the doors. That's how I see you leaving when you know these wild animals are in your backyard.
They don't want, because when my son saw the one downstairs last year, he sort of hollered up to us, and I knew immediately what he was talking about. So I ran downstairs where he was so I could see out that way. My husband went out the sliding door onto the deck, and as soon as he did, the bear heard him and ran off into the woods.
I can't emphasize how different you are than normal humans. That same reaction happens when 2 or more hummingbirds hit my parents' feeder. Oh, look, we got 3 of them. Everybody drops over. Oh, you've got 3 hummingbirds. That's normal.
No, see,
bears, you don't do that with.
We feed the chicken. I've told you this. We feed the chickadees out of our hands. So. It's such a delight up here. It's like a Disney movie.
If you can serve, yeah, Daniel Boone. Yes, it's very much like Daniel Boone. And if you can survive it and make it back to the general store, life is good. Okay.
Yeah. My husband cannot go out and do yard work without peanuts in his pocket because the chickadees fly around and expecting the peanuts.
And that's the least of his problems. I would not mow your lawn without a gun in my pocket. And even that, I know it ain't going to kill the bear, but it might scare the bejesus out of it while I run. Oh, wow.
I think the bears are plenty scared by the sound of the lawnmower, and they do not come around when they notice we're here.
Okay.
They just don't.
I do not wish anything bad to happen to your family, but someday lawnmower will be going and there'll be a tennis shoe on the ground, and you're like, what happened to my husband? He just stopped mowing. I don't wish that on anybody, but good God, woman, you are in the woods.
I'm in the woods. I'm also right next to a ski hill. It's not like it's in the deep.
Okay, you give me a
forest.
picture of the bears skiing next year, and then I'll understand. Not how this works in normal people's lives. Okay, things we can talk about because I'm willing to, because I'm kind of, we can all stand someplace on the Iran, Israel, Hamas. I don't want to get into all of that, but can I tell you this? Since I was a kid, I loved James Bond movies. Every one, seen them under. I love it. I love the gadgets where his shoe becomes a phone, the other shoe becomes like a military weapon. And go ahead.
Something we have in common.
Okay, so now, fast forward 40 years later, and I think Israel is 007. You know, the whole pager thing that happened like 6 months ago, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I can't for the life of me remember the last time I've seen an American carry a pager. Do you? I mean, my doctor used to.
It's like I was at a restaurant when we were in Austin a couple months ago, and where we lived in the 90s, and I was remembering that was the first time I'd ever seen a BlackBerry.
Well, I think about pages. I do know restaurants will give you the little jiggly thing that when it's your turn to go up, but
your food's ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what gets me about it is, besides them deciding they would figure out a way to blow up a pager on command, okay, and make that develop and work, somehow they convinced the bad guys, you need is a pager. Remember that? And they're like, good idea. No one's used a pager. And yet they used them.
But they were using the pagers because they felt like they were less likely to be, spied on.
And who told them that?
Well,
if you could put an explosive that'll blow up all at one time into a pager, I presume the same guy could say, here's a tracking device. Now we know where,
right.
The ability, so the salesmanship is something, the ability to pull it off in a couple, 3 years or something.
They could have thought of that on their own. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's like using a landline instead of or whatever. Right. So.
But we got them. Don't worry. I got the place to buy them from. And like, oh, Bob's got a guy. He can get us 200 of them or whatever. Like, okay, for a good price. Okay. And then they blow them. So Israelis are scaring me a little bit in how that little puny country over there, they understand war. I mean, they know what they're doing. They, the whole Iran thing and how they soften everything up till Trump comes with the big old bombs. I'm not.
That's not new. I mean, this is a particular example of it, but they have always had some of the best intelligence and security.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about, is for a little tiny country who's got people hating them all around them. And this isn't just, us against Mexico. This is them against everybody. I mean, this is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
in the middle of a region. Right. Yes.
And then somehow they can sneak intelligence into the basement of the whatever nuclear power plant 30 feet. You didn't notice Bob was wearing a yarmulke? I mean, I don't know how they do that, but they got intel like nobody's business. And they scare me. I think we want them as our friends. That's all I'm saying. Throw it out there.
Well, they've been an ally for a long time.
Yeah. So you agree with me on this then? Because I saw James Bond. I see James Bond with what's going on. And you can almost see, who was the Michael Myers when he did the spinoff on that? What was that called?
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. You can almost see him. You can almost see Trump in the White House. We could drop a 30,000 pound. How about 30,000? You can almost see that happen. Okay, let's make it happen, and then go do it. I don't make fun because I know many people died, but it's scary what's going on in the world. Is that fair enough?
It's scary. It is something else you and I can agree on. Yes.
Well, and on this, because you have a son, my son called after the bombs were dropped and asked, because I have two of them are military aged.
Yep.
And
same. Yep.
Yeah, and this is my point where we can get along in both sides. I'm scared to death about what I'm seeing, but on the other hand, and you probably don't know, when I was in the service, I was a forward observer. And basically what that meant is I went with the grunts. I was on the forward front lines looking for bad guys, making targets, and then, you call fire. Well, you don't need that guy. My job doesn't even exist. They started just putting a laser on, and the bomb would go get the laser. Well, now it's just drone technology.
Right.
Stuff scares the bejesus out of me. You can beam from 30,000 feet in the air, and everything ever happened. But on the other hand, for those of us kids of that age, my son, he said, I joined Dad. I said, please do me a favor, be a drone guy. Sit in Kentucky somewhere and fly a drone. And you're shaking your head. You get my point.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
war has changed.
What we saw with what we've seen with Ukraine and Russia, know, it has essentially become a drone.
Yeah.
War at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just drones going in. It's
But you would agree with me.
It's a scary time. I mean,
And there's always been scary times. I got to think the people before World War I, World War II, or radio wasn't happening. We could be talking, but you didn't want to send your kids.
The United States has always felt a little safe, because those wars happen in places
and the
that
oceans.
we're not. And we've got a couple of big oceans, and Pearl Harbor was a tragedy, and and we felt that. And let's say we don't have our problems, but those oceans have been a bit of a safety buffer for us, and it just makes you wonder in some ways what all's going on now. So. Well,
and just one last before we go to break. You watch this whole robot thing, human robot thing. I presume that's what the drones. How long have they been around? 10 years, and you used to be able to put your phone on it and take a picture of your garage from the top, and now all of a sudden it's the weapon of choice.
Right.
You watch these humanoid computer things and robots and see what happens there. But all that being said, and again, back with the guy with 2 kids, I like that better in some way. It scares me. I'm watching what's on TV, but it scares me. We got to go to break. You okay with that? We'll be back after this. I got our Senator
Absolutely.
Susan Kent. Stay safe in the next couple minutes, please.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Everybody knows you have to have a guy in the auto repair business. If you want a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop. I don't know. Ask him. Jay's Auto Shop's locally and veteran owned. Paul's your guy in the car business. He'll fix just what needs fixing, make sure it's done right, and at a fair price. You want to know your car's being taken care of, take it to Paul at Jay's Auto Shop. 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 507-525-1052. 507-525-1052.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-AL's show.
We've got our Senator Susan Kent, who I find amazing that I still get along with after all this time. But I did think of this. I think we now have the perfect barometer that you'll always know how I feel about you. We roll along, we do our thing. You're very pleasant to go for an hour radio without any real topics to talk about. But I think the day that you walk out to the porch and there's a package of raw meat from Al, you'll know that Al might be having an issue. Just an empty box, smelly box in there, and your shoe and the bears got you. That's how you'll know that you and I are getting along fine.
Yeah, and that it won't arrive in the winter when they're napping. It will come when they're fully awake and hungry. Yes.
Oh, right away in spring when they're just starving to death and got an ounce of fat on them. So you'll never see this, but the sheet of paper that I put together, my talking point sheet, had exactly one thing: walls, poles, number, and then I just stopped writing. I said, there ain't no way I'm talking about that today. That's the whole list. So chatting about stuff, let me ask you this. You know Senator Hoffman, his wife has been texting, and I Facebooking. I think once you get Facebooking, I felt pretty good. Yeah. John Hoffman sent me an email last week, Saturday or Sunday, I think it was, which is nice. Just clarified that Al, besides being a knucklehead sending emails to a guy who's been shot 9 times, he did say that the FBI had his phone for the better part of a week looking for evidence. And I'm like, here's something I never thought about before. Maybe the FBI's got to do that. It hasn't been going back and forth. I don't want to mislead anybody. Still in intensive care. My feeling currently is, and it's not my business to know. It's not I want to know how far he's going to come. I haven't talked to Yvette myself, but she's posting on Facebook. It's a good sign, right? I mean, right. I want those good signs. He sent me an email. The world can know. He sent me a text. But I want to know, is that John coming back? How much of that is our business?
Well, yeah, that's funny.
It's not, but I get my point. When you get eaten by a bear because I send a box, when do I get to find out if you survived?
Yeah. No, I when you asked that question, it immediately took me back to when I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the end of 2015. And
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it was. I got very early detection, very easy treatment, and it was all fine. Is my good news. I always say I had easy cancer, and everybody needs to get their screenings. But I also knew, because this was coming into 2016, which was an election year, that it's like, I wanted to make sure everybody knew I was healthy, because I didn't want anybody thinking, ooh, there's the fragile gazelle by the pond. And so,
oh my God,
because it when you are a public servant, you think about these things. You have your personal considerations. You want, I had a young son at the time, and I wanted him to feel like, mom's going to be okay, all that. But I also knew I had an obligation to let the community know, and I'm sure that the Hoffmans are having similar conversations. And I also, because I knew my situation pretty early, that made it clear. Is
it a morbid obsession? Is it normal? I mean, I consider John my friend. I think that's really why. But people can want to know, right? It isn't wrong to say, God, is he going to survive? He's going to be back.
Right. I mean, I think as human beings, we can have both I'm curious, I want to know, and I also care about this person, and I wish them the best and the time and the space to heal and to figure things out for themselves and their family. Because that's ultimately what all these decisions are about, And
is it the ability, because we only have 1 minute, is the ability for the rest of us to don't spread rumors about it? I presume at some point someone's going to say, oh, did you hear in the thing? And John will be like, what in the world are they talking about? To hold off until they tell us. And again, I don't know exactly how Yvette is, but I see her posting on Facebook. So I presume, and maybe that's the wrong thing too, to presume that.
And I think, and I'm sure that they will eventually come out and share more of the details of the situation and the story when the time is right for them. And that's what matters, for me, who knows all 3 of them as humans, and Hope is an amazing young woman. We want them absolutely, because even if they physically heal 100%, I mean, this changes your life, obviously, forever.
Well,
you know,
and that goes for all of them. Senator Rest, I know, and I'm not sure the other one name where they got lucky they weren't home. I mean, everybody's going to see this from a different angle. Some are going to have to, just by the grace of God, that the police officer went by the time. All of that. Everybody's got stuff. Let's kind of work through it. I thank you for giving me an hour of your time when we didn't.
Always.
I know, but that's, well, until the bear gets you, we'll just keep doing this. I'm more worried about you now than I ever have been. I'm like, good God. That photo scared me. I can't believe you think that's cool.
I
Four
think
bears.
it's adorable.
If it was at the end of the driveway, I didn't think it was cool. But on the big, okay, we're out of time. Thank you, Senator Susan Kent. Love having you on. Senator Kent on the Al Travis Show.